word for you today. It's Saturday. Hope you're having a good weekend. What is special about you? Discover what's special about you. Romans chapter 12, verse 6 says, we have different gifts according to the grace given us. If a man's gift is prophesying, let him use it in proportion to his faith. God is the giver of spiritual gifts. If you are a believer in Jesus Christ, you have a gift or gifts. And God has chosen. He didn't just throw something out there or roll the dice. God specifically gave you the gifts that he wants you to have, that he knew that he would use you for. So how do we use the gifts we've been given? Well, first of all, we need to discover what the gifts are. There are 4 passages of scripture that talk about these spiritual gifts. And I don't think the spiritual gifts are limited to those 4 passages of scripture, but it's in Romans chapter 12, it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, it's in Ephesians chapter 4, and 1 Peter chapter 4. And there's some lists of gifts, but really your gift is you think about something that you do well. You don't even hardly have to think about it. We all have things that we just do well. Some people are very good about being patient. My wife is so good with young children, young babies. The smaller, the better. They just cry, and she's just so patient with them. Man, if they're crying, something's wrong. Got to fix it. There's something wrong with this baby. He's crying. She says, no, sometimes they just need to cry. I'm not the person you want in the nursery, okay? She just has a wonderful way with little ones like that I certainly don't have. Discover what gift or gifts you have. Some people are very good at organizing. Some are good at speaking. Some are good at just being in the background. Some people are good at being in front. Discover your gifts. That's the first thing. Second thing, thank God for the gifts he's given you. Thank God for what he's given you. It's really easy to be envious of somebody else and the gifts that they have, rather than thanking God for what you have. Don't compare. Comparison always that's a dead end. Nothing good comes from that. So discover what your gifts are. Thank God for them. Then pray and ask God for opportunities to use your gifts. If it's teaching, look for an opportunity to teach or to assist in a class. If it's helps, if you have the gift of helps, just look and see. You will recognize people who need help more than people who don't have that gift. And the fourth thing, volunteer in areas where your gifts would be helpful. Some people love to teach. Well, great. Children, our children's area, our youth area, our adult area, all need teachers. And, sometimes maybe not the main teacher, but somebody just to assist, to help is helpful. Maybe you have a heart for those who have handicaps and are not able to do things the rest of us can. You can come along with that person and help them. Use the gifts that God has given you. Maybe you're good at organizing. You can come and take care of my office. It definitely needs help. The fifth thing, spend time with people who have the same gifts that you have. Why? Because you're going to see more opportunities to use your gifts. You all will talk. You'll connect because things are important. The same things are important to each of you because you have the same gifts. You're looking through the same set of eyes. And the sixth thing, look and see what effect your gift is having on other people. If you think you have the gift of teaching and you take a class of 12 and in a few weeks it's down to 1, you may not have the gift of teaching. And don't totally dismiss it, but there's a chance you don't have the gift of teaching. If you think you have the gift of encouragement, but when you get done correcting people, they're all crying and upset, maybe encouragement is not your gift. But if you come along somebody and you say, thank you, I really needed that. Thank you so much. That's helpful. That you think, okay, I may be on the right track. Maybe you have the gift of teaching and you teach and somebody says, I learned something today. I loved it when you said this. Look and see, evaluate how your use of your gifts affects other people. UCLA basketball coach John Wooden had an incredible string of championship teams. And he had an interesting rule for all of his teams. He said whenever a player scored, Whenever school players made a basket, they were to acknowledge the person that assisted them, the person that threw the ball to them. And one guy said, well, isn't that going to disrupt the flow? He says, no, you don't go over and give him a big hug. Just give him a nod, point to him, do something. But you need to realize what Coach Wooden was trying to help them to see was it wasn't this one superstar on a team with 4 other players. It was a person who was dependent on his teammates. And you wouldn't have scored that basket if that guy had not passed you the ball. If somebody had not set that pick for you to go around and make. Your success is dependent on other people on the team. And acknowledge them. Acknowledge that. And it's the same way in our lives. There are people come alongside us and help us. Acknowledge them. Realize, I didn't do that on my own. Somebody once said that if you find a turtle sitting on top of a fence post, you can know this. He had some help getting there. Well, you know what? All of us have had help getting to where we are. You say, but I'm really not anything special. I'm not talking about that. You don't have to be something that the world calls special. If you have a tender heart, somebody helped you to have a tender heart. If you like to help people, somebody instilled that in you. Yes, it was God, but there were other people that came along. Somebody gave you a chance. Let them know. Acknowledge them. Say, thank you. You have made a difference in my life. Thank you. Discover what's special about you, because you know what? There is something special about you. And God put that in you at the moment you accepted Jesus, and He is using you to make a difference in the lives of other people. Now, let's go and help other people discover what's special about them as we use what's special in us. Have a good weekend. Hope to see you Sunday.